on, and because they're all kind of like, oh,
I think that was a significant part of it. I think they felt that Hillary would be president, and so they would get Merrick Garland.
How come Mitch McConnell didn't think that?
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell didn't assume that Hillary was going to win when he corrupted the entire system that day.
And what's interesting is that, and I believe this to be true, you know, Merrick Garland, who was in D.C., and I believe I've appeared in front of him, was not necessarily a very exciting pick. He was pretty moderate, and many people say that that was President Obama sort of reaching across the aisle to Republicans to try to get that bipartisan support. But Heidi Hess says it was his attempt to play chess with Republicans, and it didn't work because they don't play respectability and civility.
That's right.
And so that was also, I think, a miscalculation. Perhaps if he nominated someone that would get progressives a little more interested and a little more engaged, perhaps Democrats would have handled it differently.
Go to a gunfight with a knife is the cliche, and that's exactly what they did. And now they have zero
because Kennedy didn't change the composition of this court, this new appointment. It was Mitch McConnell that changed the composition of this court.
Why did Kennedy leave before the November elections, though?
Because he's 81, probably.
Yeah, but so what? He couldn't hang on for a few more months?
It's going to help for the midterms, too.
I think he
really? He wants to live because he's a Republican, and that's why.
Yes, liberals romanticize Kennedy.
He said he would leave under a Republican
Liberals romanticize Kennedy. He was always a conservative.
Yes, but he was a conservative.
But he went back and forth.
Yes, he did. But did you?
Well, I want to say it's not just about like Republicans playing dirty. It's that, quite frankly, Obama didn't want to play harder. There's a quote also that says it would have meant talking to reporters, going on the record, discussing meetings with GOP senators, visiting key battleground states, and so forth, by not picking a candidate who could fight. So, yeah, Merrick Garland was a boring choice. I mean, at the time, it's not that they were lazy. It's just that, as you just said, it is a street fight. And if you wanted to not, again, do all the things you have to do, visiting battleground states, discussing meetings.
It's also, you come in as president, you get elected. The first thing you hear after your election is some man who says, you know what, we're not going to do anything to help this president. We're not going to do anything to help this man.
And he tried to be a statesman
and in 8 years, they did nothing to help. So I pretty much feel like maybe Obama just didn't want to put anybody else through that. Maybe he didn't want to put anybody else through that, knowing that they were going to do everything they could.
This country wasn't ready for the statesman that he was. That's what I think.
You know. But that's where we are now.
The Democrats need to get real now.
Stop boo-hooing y'all. Because, you know, go out and start getting folks, registering them and getting them to vote. If you don't like what's happening, then get people out to vote. If you're okay with this, we'll just move on then.
Yeah.
Given the state of the union right now, a third of Americans actually believe that a second civil war will happen within the next 5 years. Now, what does that actually mean? A civil war? Because the Civil War was really about race and slavery. So what makes people think? Do they see something I don't see? Did we miss something?
Yes, they see that we're going backwards. They see that now it's still about otherism. It's now about immigrants. It's now about Muslims. And so we're very much in that culture war. I mean, John Meacham's book outlines our history. I mean, this is not the first time that we see children separated from their families. Black children were separated from their families throughout the history of this country. And so let's face it, a second civil war, we are in the grasp of a civil war now.
There's a tremendous fear amongst the white elites who are running the joint and many of their supporters that black and brown people will be the majority soon.
Well, we already are the majority.
Well, it's getting to be more and more. And this is the fear that is, they are stoking the fear of these supporters, in my opinion, this racist fear that this is what's going to happen. Your white privilege is going to be taken away. It's all fear-based. We live in New York City, okay? In New York City, every color of the rainbow gets along just fine.
And the rainbow.
And the rainbow. And the rainbow. One thing really quick.
So there is a tremendous fear of this happening in Europe. It's happening. It's happening in Italy, my favorite country, my family's country. It's so upsetting to see that happen there. That there's fear mongering going on at the top. They're telling Italians, "Oh, they're coming from Africa. They're going to take over your country." It's so sickening to see this happen. And this is what's driving it. It's fear, fear, fear. So
Okay.
remember that.
Good.
First thing, when I first came to the show, when you guys first hired me, I talked about the culture war in the meeting, and I believe your quote was, "What war? It takes two sides to fight." I'm glad we've all conceded that there is an actual culture war that's raging in this country. The second thing I want to say is that, okay, except for you, Whoopi. The second thing I want to say is that, yes, some of this is about race. I think we can concede that. But a lot of this is also about poverty, which, again, seems to be missed in the mainstream media. When you are living in a tiny town in America and your coal mine or steel mine went under and opiate addiction is raging in your town and there is no hope for your kids and you can't pay your insurance and you can't pay
It sounds
your
like
college.
black people.
But I'm trying to, again, we had...
I don't mean that. I don't mean that in a crazy way.
I adore you, as you know.
Yes.
But that was a cheap shot. I'm trying to explain.
Wait.
No, I'm trying to
No. I know what you're trying to do. I get it. And that's why I said it with a smile, because poor people are everywhere. There's not just white.
As well.
Yes.
I'm trying to explain. I have been to these places.
So have I, Megan. We've both been there. We know.
We had John Meacham saying Trump's getting elected in 2020 on the show. He's a presidential historian. It's more than likely going to happen if there are no lessons learned. And again, everyone's in a lot of pain. A lot of stuff is raging. I just come on the show every day trying to explain what Red America is thinking and doing and why this man got elected, because I truly believe I understand.
I appreciate your position.
I know,
yes.
and I
truly appreciate
We all do.
What I would like to know, to your point, is why do people think that the Republican Party, with Trump in charge, is going to help them out of their poverty when they give tax breaks to the very wealthy in this country? Because when he has trade policies that are going to destroy American
messaging is better than yours. His messaging is better than what Democrats have.
Even if it's a lie.
It is. Even if it's a lie, it's better. Yeah. When someone comes to you, sometimes when you're so poor, and again, I don't know this, it's just the people I've talked to, it's easier to believe I'm going to make America great, I'm going to make it easier for you to make it better. Even if it's a lie,
well, if you don't invest in education, people don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
That's another problem.
That's another topic.